Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for spending your time. A quick request to put your phone on silent mode, please. And I would now request Jayashree to please come on the stage and give the welcome speech.
Good afternoon, everyone. Super happy to welcome you all to this unique event put together by the startup cell of Flow Chennai. I welcome our Flow members and special invitees. A warm welcome to the Flow members pan-India who have joined us through virtual platforms and to the committee members of the national startup team headed by Aarti Gupta. I also extend a warm welcome to Group Captain Mr. Vijay Kumar, Executive Director, Madras Management Association. Thank you, sir, for helping us bring this event together at this venue. Thank you all for being here. We really appreciate your participation. We had to keep the numbers limited in tandem with the COVID protocols and social distancing norms. Please to wear your masks at all times and stay safe. To those of you who are new to Flow, Flow is a pan-India organization established in 1983. Our goal being to assist our women folk achieve a life of their dreams. As an all-India organization for women, Flow has 18 chapters all over India, and we hope to promote economic empowerment and opportunities for women. In short, Flow is women transforming India through industry, trade, and innovation. Now, today's event comprises of two sessions, and the first session is a panel discussion. We proudly present 4 Flow members, 4 successful women in their respective fields: an angel investor, an entrepreneur, the head of a non-profit organization, the director of an age-old company, and founder of a popular Ayurvedic brand. These 4 women will be sharing their journey with us, and we have in conversation with them our own member, Priya Gautam, who is also a part of the National Startup Committee. I'm excited as much as all of you gathered here today to lend a ear to these success stories. We all keep learning and evolving every day through our shared life experiences. And when you get a chance like this to listen to others narrating their interesting journey, you get inspired and something might strike a chord, something might touch you deep within, and you realize that there are things you learn from others' experience that will truly help you pick your battles in this life wisely. I'm sure each one of you will find something unique and interesting to take away. And do stay on for the high tea, which is served at the end of the 2 sessions. Now, I invite our panelists, Ms. Jaydevi Cholayan, Ms. Raji Raju, Ms. Mahima Podar, Ms. Garima Agarwal, and Priya Gautam.
Good afternoon, one and all. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce Garima. Garima is a passion-driven mompreneur who founded Peekaboo Patterns back in 2005. Born and raised in Kolkata, she built her brand in Chennai over years of perseverance. A productive day is her ikigai, although traveling, meeting people, and spiritual courses have been her mojo. There is never a dull moment, she claims, while engaging with a team or clients. Learning through mistakes while surviving through highs and lows is an inspiring success story of her brand. Best known for design, manufacturing, and retail, it also curates products from over 40 national and international brands. Its flagship store is a mecca of cute things that are customizable. A natural multitasker, she has an eye for detail and a thirst for perfection. Inclined towards creativity since her childhood, one can easily find that in all her work, one of the accolades of her professional journey has been winning the Good Homes Award for Children's Solutions and Kids Top Best Award for Best Kids Decor and Furniture. Although she believes her biggest reward has been meeting clients from different walks of life while building strong bonds over the years. Interacting on a personal level with celebrities while designing their kids' rooms or with vendors and experts has been a catalyst to her personal growth. In fact, she never forgets to mention being not only the kids brand, but also the only brand from Chennai who participated in India Design Delhi. It was a brave attempt. My satisfaction lies in spreading awareness about conscious parenting through my businesses. There is nothing I love more than nurturing young parents with handy tips. It is the best feeling to make a difference with our products and services. So, to quote, 2021 was a momentous year for her with the branching into Peekaboo Interiors, India's first exclusive show home for kids that has 7 experiential and dramatically different themed rooms. It offers ready-to-pick furniture, furnishing, and accessories, along with turnkey interior projects for kids' spaces. The quiet moments of the first few lockdowns are the inspiration to partner with her family business of apparel export. 2021 also saw the launch of Beautiful, a brand for smart casual clothing for children. Why beautiful? Because Peekaboo believes that every child is beautiful. Ever since she is busy growing her team, and it seems there is no looking back from here. We are currently working on our website to start selling internationally. Also, increase business turnover by reselling the in house products on multiple platforms. Welcome. I also do take immense pleasure in introducing Mahima Poddar. Mahima is a social entrepreneur, the founder of Kindness Foundation, an expressive art therapy practitioner, and a child abuse awareness and prevention expert. Mahima is a perpetual optimist. At her very core lies the belief that we are all born with an infinite capacity for kindness and deep compassion. She believes that even the simple act of talking about kindness and highlighting other stories and journeys can inspire people to become the best version of themselves. That's really true. As a trained child abuse awareness and prevention expert, Mahima has also conducted over 100 workshops across India where she believes that in order to keep our children truly safe, we need to think and work as a community and not as individual units. She is also a champion of compassionate communication and has run several workshops and training programs that help people communicate more peacefully and mindfully. She has initiated several pioneering programs like the Kindness Week, that is sharing experiences, the Kindness Vouchers, gifting experiences, Kind Campus, Empathy at Education Curriculum, Kindness Speaks, Voice of the Youth, Kindness Gallery, Voices of the Artists, the Kindness Brigade, Identifying Kindness Ambassadors, Youth Internship Program, Kindness All in fundraising workshops by experts that aim to transform the world by invoking the innate nature of kindness in every human being and encouraging kinder communities. Her brainchild, the International Kindness Festival, saw its first edition held in March this year, a global symposium on the science, politics, ethics, and practicality of everyday kindness. The International Kindness Festival brought together visionary progressionists through thought leaders and change makers from various fields to brainstorm all things kindness. She is the founder of the Kindness Foundation, a non-profit thinking organization with one simple yet powerful vision, that is, to create compassionate communities worldwide. Through events, workshops, and programs, Team Kindness at the foundation work every single day to plant seeds of kind thoughts in children. and adults from all walks of life. They break stereotypes and expand perspectives on kindness, philanthropy, and charity, all in the hope of inspiring action and creating a safer, more content world. Mahima's inspirational work with the foundation has been featured in The Hindu, DT Next, New Indian Express, and various news online websites and publications, the News Minute and the Quint. She also has been a part of a panel on child sexual abuse and women's safety with the likes of Dr. Sashi Tharoor and activist Nehla Rashid. I would now like to invite Asha Ravi to introduce him. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everybody. I take great pleasure in introducing our next panelist, our very own Flow member, EC member, Ms. Raji Raju, who heads the startup cell of Flow Chennai. Raji Raju holds an undergrad degree in business and computers from USA, in addition to a bachelor's degree in psychology from India. Joint promoter of Vetri Software, along with her husband Raju Venkatraman in Michigan. She worked in various capacities, including marketing and business development. Vetri Software Private Limited was a pioneer in BPO and IT development, employing over 5,000 people in India and the USA. Customers included United Healthcare, LexisNexis, Thomson Publishing, Blue Cross Blue Shield Michigan, and several other HMOs. She's also an angel investor in Marketing Associates, Ether Energy and Kara Details, and many more. Raji served as the PTA president in the American International School, Chennai, and is an active member of the AISC community. Raji and her husband Raju are also active members of the Young Presidents Organization. They joined the organization in the Detroit chapter and later transferred their membership to the Chennai chapter when they relocated to India as a family in 2002. She has served the YPO Regional Committee as well as the YPO Chennai Executive Committee and has started numerous forums both locally and nationally. Raji believes in giving back to the community and has worked with several organizations, including Isha Foundation, Alert, and Andhra Mahila Sabha. Raji is passionate about arts and is a trained classical music singer, a Bharatanatyam dancer, and a choreographer. She has 2 children and she chose to give up her professional career to raise them and look after her aged parents and in-laws like all other selfless Indian mothers. Her hobbies include playing badminton, reading, and listening to all genres of music. She's deeply spiritual and believes in celebrating life every day. Welcome back. Our next panelist is Mrs. Jayadevi Chole, Mrs. Jayadevi, who is the EC member of FICCI Flow Chennai. She's the co-chair of the Handlooms and Handicrafts vertical as well. She's the founder of Julaha, a clothing brand manufacturing kalamkari, batik, hand-painted apparels, thereby creating employment for many women in Chennai and promoting this handcrafted art form. Jaya, as she's fondly known, has worked very closely with the Crafts Council of India to preserve and promote traditional Indian handicrafts and textiles. She's also the co-founder of Sadev, the luxury Ayurveda brand, making exotic personal care products with the Ayurvedic knowledge passed on to her family over a period of 200 years. She's founded the Farm to Table, an organic store which deals with the organic produce from the Acholail farm, thereby promoting healthy living. Being a strong proponent of alternate healing, she has learned Ayurveda and various other modalities of energy healing as well. She takes care of the functioning of the Ayurvedic clinic Sadayush in Chennai. Being very empathetic, she also supports various old age homes, orphanages, cow and dog shelters across Chennai. She is very passionate about tree planting and follows the Miyawaki method and has planted more than 21,000 trees so far, individually as well as with the Prasiddhi Foundation in Chennai. From working closely in the family business and being a crusader for empowerment of women and education for children in their adopted village, Jaidevi has also traveled extensively around the world, collecting stories, savoring their food, culture, experiences, and creating fond memories. Welcome, Jaidevi, on the I would like to introduce our event moderator for the day, Ms. Priya Gautam, who's also a member of Flow Chennai. She heads the startup initiative, national startup initiative. Priya Gautam's core strength lies in the field of marketing, strategy, and technology. She has an enviable 20 years of multifaceted experience, which includes setting up of new businesses and startup to scale up expertise in small, medium, and large enterprises. Her international experience includes working in the US, ideating for a large edu city close to Chennai. She is now taken up position as strategic consultant and director of education with Virginia Tech, India. Her love for technology drew her into accepting many challenging roles, which include being an entrepreneur in residence with the role of being the CMO of a global technology company. Her entrepreneurial streak had her partnering in digital venture, while also setting up co-working spaces, both of which she modestly calls success stories. She has won several accolades during her career and has also been featured in the 100 MSME Inspirational Stories released by the Honorable Minister, Mr. Nitin Gadkari, in the year 2020. She has been the ambassador for Chennai for Facebook's initiative called She Leads Tech. Currently heads the National Flow Startup Cell, virtual incubator and mentoring vertical since 2021. Her educational qualifications include a bachelor's degree from Osmania University, and she's also an alumnus of the IIM Bangalore. I now invite Priya to proceed with the moderation.
Thank you. Whoa, what a panel I have with me, and a lovely evening for the rest of them who are going to watch them speak as we unravel the secrets, I think, for most of them as to how successful they are. So I'm so glad that I'm doing this, and it's a physical event after a long time. It's lovely to meet you all. The format of the questions are going to be that I'm going to pass it around so that it's a lot more interactive. And if you have anything in between that you want to speak, you could, probably take the mic and do that. So, ladies and gentlemen, the first question is for Garima. So Garima, as we heard, she has a brand called Peekaboo, but we were wondering, it's good to know as to how was it about founding Peekaboo and what was your intention behind starting Peekaboo? Over to you, Garima.
Can you hear me? I founded Peekaboo in 2005. Although I studied fashion design and had an opportunity of joining my husband's apparel export business, something deep inside me didn't agree with that, and I was constantly looking out for something unique and something that would be my own. And this opportunity came knocking at my door when I was doing up my kids' rooms, and I couldn't find the right kind of furnishings, or my aesthetic sense wasn't matching anything that was available back then in India. And I designed all of it on my own. And I realized that that's something that I really want to do and give it to all the other children who don't have access to these, customized products. So that's how Peekaboo happened.
Lovely. I think I might want to ask you this question. Why did the name Peekaboo come?
That's a sweet question. So the first thing I was looking for was curtains. And back in those days, there weren't many options for children. And me being from a creative background, I found it very hard to like certain prints which were, not so pleasing to me. So I designed curtains. And, when you playfully interact with a child, you often hide and seek and play peekaboo. So my first product was curtains and window dressing for children, and hence the name Peekaboo.
Thanks, Garima. So the question why I asked this was, they say in marketing, the simple principle is you call A's for apple and people remember. So that's probably the story I wanted the entrepreneurs to know, that make the name very simple so that you're able to understand. Thanks a lot, Garima, for that. I switch over my next question to Jaya. So Jaya, you have been in the family business, but you also got married and came into the family. So can you let us know about your decision to join your family business, which is totally different from what you did in the past, I guess?
Yeah. Audible?
Yeah.
I got married at the age of 19 and came to Chennai. And after some time, I started doing the textile designing. I started creating the batik and kalamkari, what I was doing. And there were more than 50 families of women who were getting employed. And I was very happy doing that. So it's around that time that both my husband and my father-in-law, they both told me, why don't you start coming to the office? And I was always a curious person. I wanted to learn. So any opportunity to learn, I never said no. I thought, let me go and try it out. And we used to have a monthly board meetings. So they told me to attend that. So when I went there, it was an open, a new world for me, because there was so much of learning from there. I could understand how the Cholel organization was run, how the Medimix team was functioning. There was so much of learning for me. And I am a pure science graduate and I had no clue about accounts and marketing, nothing. So I used to ask whatever doubt I had, I used to ask them. I never used to feel shy about asking questions. If I don't know, I'll tell them, please explain. So they were more than happy to explain things to me. So in a couple of months, both my husband and father-in-law, they told, like, why don't you start going to the R&D? I told, I don't know anything about R&D. What will I do then? They told, it's okay, you can go and find out. Then I thought, okay, if they had telling me to go to R&D, place like R&D, maybe they would have seen something in me which I didn't know about myself. I thought, let me go there and explore. And we had amazing scientists there. And I told them, I come here to learn from each and every one of you. And they were more than happy to teach me. And that's how my journey started with the family business. From there, every step that I take, like, it was always a beautiful journey. Even now, there was another vertical in the family, which was run by my father-in-law. It was an Ayurvedic medicine making factory. And it was after my father-in-law's demise, no one was taking care of it, and it was going downhill. So another senior management person told, we cannot run a vertical when it's making loss, whereas Cholel is pumping money every month. We cannot do that. Then they wanted to close it. I told my husband, without even focusing on that, we cannot close the unit. It is an amazing medicine. I mean, all the Ayurvedic medicines are amazing. Let me give it a try. Just give me 1 year. So after 1 year, we'll take a call. Then I sat with our team and Ayurvedic doctors. Out of the 45 medicines, we just segregated just 20 of that. We thought we'll focus on that 20 and did some more new products. And we started doing online. And now the factory is doing great. And even the factory workers are so happy, they're grateful. They're coming and telling me that they're so grateful that their livelihood is safe now. They don't have to fear anymore. So these are some of the changes which I made after joining the family business.
Lovely. I mean, it's so inspiring to see that you didn't know what you had to, what was in future for you, and you came and you just conquered that. You know, I think that's a message I would take from this, your work in Medimix and how you've developed it. Thanks a lot, Jay. I'll come back to you. My next question is for Raji. So there is a very vibrant ecosystem today, but it was not so much when you founded your company, Vetri, along with your husband. In your opinion, what role does an ecosystem play in helping startups, Raji?
Yes, the ecosystem does play a very important role. In fact, today the ecosystem provides seed, fund, venture capital fund, angel funding, and all of these definitely help the entrepreneur. During our times, we had to pledge in the banks, and we had to go and write up a collateral and all of that. So definitely the ecosystem has been very significantly has helped an entrepreneur, even to avert risks, to build equity. So I think today entrepreneurs are much more lucky and yes, than the entrepreneurs much before.
Thanks, Raji. So there's a lot of things today that we hear about, saying that Chennai is going to be, or maybe India is going to be the next unicorn making country, and so on and so forth. Do you think that's true with the kind of entrepreneurs that are happening in India, entrepreneurship that's happening in India, and the entrepreneurs both?
I definitely am somebody who's always hopeful for that to happen. So if you ask me this, I would say definitely yes. In fact, recently we were just discussing a NASCOM report was chaired by our co-chair, Mala, in our group. And it looks so promising. There are so many startups that have come up during the pandemic and so much of an increase in the unicorns. And even I would go ahead and say that most of the startups have at least one woman founder. So it was very encouraging to know that. So I do believe that, yes, that's a possibility.
Thanks, Raji. Over to you, Mahima. Her business was something very different and I never found anything about her. So I was just telling her. So I think it's good for us to also hear where she comes from. So the area that you selected may not particularly among women entrepreneurs was something that people really look forward for. Was there any personal challenges considering you started this foundation, Mahima?
So to start off with, it's not a business because business by very definition is for profit and this is a non-profit that we done. And I would say I've been blessed to have a very supportive ecosystem, family environment, and very supportive people who have always stepped forward because I truly believe that everybody has goodness in them. You just show them and you ask them and people are ready to do whatever. So in terms of challenges, human beings have been very supportive. The human quotient has been extremely a big blessing, in fact. The challenges, of course, come in the actual work, the manpower to execute what you want to do, and in the funding, of course, as with any nonprofit. But when I first started it, I was of the opinion that it will be a challenge to get people on board, to convince them of the ideas, because the stuff that we do at the foundation is not as tangible as some of the other nonprofits. We're not into providing food, shelter, and clothing. We're into promoting empathy education, making people kinder. So how do you measure that, right? So, but I have found, and there are people on this panel like Garima who've been big supporters, and I never needed to convince anybody of what we're doing. They just hear the concept and they love it. So in terms of challenges, I would say I've been blessed, and it hasn't been such a hard journey. And it's just, I feel if you put your heart in the right place and you're thinking of the benefit of everyone, then things just happen. It's just not so challenging. The difficult part, of course, is to stay, make sure that you're in compliance. And that is a challenge. So I outsource that. I don't try to get into that, because when you're trying to do good, if you get involved with all the paperwork and all of that, then that just takes away from the work. So just outsource that.
Some things we really can't do, and it requires
Let's just accept that.
So looking back, anything that you would have done differently, Mahima?
I don't know if I would do anything differently, but I would say I would do more of some things. I feel like this nonprofit has been years in the making. It's it's been a thought process and inspiration that's taken several years to take birth. And I found that my own children have been very inspiring to me. They have given me ideas which, thoughts that I never thought of, or never thought of it in that way, their perspective. So what I would do more of going back is talk to children more on their perspective on how to do this. I'll give you a small example. You know how most people do food distribution, you adopt an orphanage and you, so we used to do that. And this one weekend I asked my younger one, so what shall we take this weekend? Shall we take chocolates? Shall we take toys? What do kids really like? What do kids want to do? And she said, Mama, kids just want to play. And that was such a, a different moment for me. Here we're attaching joy to things, material goods, whereas actually kids, and actually all of us, we want the moments, we want the joyful moments, right? So, and then, there are many such small aha moments, eureka moments for me when my kids just open my eyes to the smallest and simplest of things. So I feel like if I could go back, I would talk more to not just my kids, but to more kids about what is it that really makes you happy? What is it that, what does kindness mean to you? What is that? So I think that's what I would give voice to, or rather inquire more from the younger generation, the youngest of the young.
It's the voice of the customer, I would say.
Yes,
Thanks a lot, Mahima. Garima, so I've been thinking what to ask you because there are lots of things that I want to ask you. But what have been your obstacles and challenges, and how did you tide over? I'm sure you went through some process of mentorship, and So I recall this saying that you had some challenges. So I thought it's good for the rest of the budding entrepreneurs or people who are going through this journey to know what was your journey and challenges.
I don't understand any business that doesn't have challenges. I had plenty, so it would be hard to talk about all of them. The good news is that we all, challenges come in a package. A problem comes packed with a solution. So how soon we find a solution is the trick. There were many challenges. One was I've been always a brick and mortar person. Very strong with design and manufacturing, and not so sound with technology, or not so inclined, I would say. And that put us slightly behind times, because in the last few years, maybe even a decade, technology has forefronted everything. And that was a challenge, and how we could get better at that was by outsourcing resources. Also, we are growing our team now this year quite a bit, getting experts and specialists on board. And if it's not my strength, then it can't be my company's weakness. And that understanding was huge. And I'm glad we are almost, surpassing that very soon. Besides the one where we reached out to our mentoring cell last 2 years back, I think, was because I was all confused with a whole lot of things happening, too many rabbits, typical grown very wide, but I think the consumers were also confused. And we had chats with my good friend Vanita here, and I really look up to Hemu, and you were there as well. And just having a few candid chats with my mentors helped me, segregate my business into 3 verticals. And that clarity made such a huge impact on everything. My sales, my turnover, my team is more sorted. They have a better schedule, and I feel a lot more consolidated, yet we have grown. So yeah, it was amazing.
That's wonderful. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot in store for you, but good luck to you with what you're planning to do in future. Raji, how technology enablement is relevant to today's business, carrying on from what Garima said?
Very relevant indeed. Technology is very important, especially to reach your customer, whether it is B2B or B2C. As Garima said, you can always outsource it if it need to be, but you need to have those business tools, and there are many available today. There are tools to streamline your production process, manage inventory. There are customer relationship management CRM tools. There are Salesforce tools. It's very important to have these technological tools in your business, whether you outsource them or whether you incorporate them. If you don't, you can't scale your business. It would become very manual.
Thanks, Raji. See, technology is, today we are using phones, but a lot of businesses are happening over the phones, over mobile apps, so many things. I think one needs to sort of look at that more into a part of an integral part of the business itself. Yeah, thanks. So, Jaya, you founded Sadev along with your son. So what was your journey to Sadev from what you did with Medimix? So there's a subtle difference, but yet I think it's a brand. And why did it happen now in this 2000s?
For me, like as I told you, after going to the R&D, I started interacting with all the scientists. And that was the time when I used to meet so many technical persons from all over India and outside India as well. And there used to be different kind of people coming with exotic perfumes, natural isolates, Ayurvedic extracts. And the kind of, even for example, the different kind of butters like shea butter, cocoa butter, mango butter, different kinds of things were there in the market. Then so I told my technical team, why can't we make some soaps out of this? So like me, my technical person, the perfumer, we sat and started formulating different kind of soap like goat milk soap and sandal saffron soap and all that. We made a line of that. And then the aloe vera gel, and then the rose waters, and even because of the natural color, the lip balm that I created. And since I had the boutique, there was one day one customer who came and asked me, "You're in the Ayurvedic field. Why don't you start making natural hair color?" So that again started making me to think. Then I started making natural hair color, and I had the entire range ready. So then I thought, okay, I'll hand it over to Medimic so that they can do it. But they didn't even take me seriously. They thought, okay, I'm doing something. They didn't even know what I was doing. And they were in their own space. And since Medimix is a mass market, they didn't want to get into this also maybe, but actually they didn't even know what I was doing exactly. So then the person with whom I was developing the fragrance, he told, "Ma'am, you have your own brand. Why don't you launch in your own brand?" I thought, yeah, that's a good idea because since after making the whole thing, I don't want this to just lie in the R&D. So for the packaging and everything, I put money from my textile unit. I started the packaging with a wonderful team, and we did it. And even for sales and marketing, it was only me and my driver. We used to go to the organic stores and tell them to place our products there. And luckily, it went off very well. It took off very well. And there were more and more demand from all over the Chennai, even from outside Chennai, from all over India. People started placing orders with us without me doing any marketing work. So it was around this time that my son came back from US after his undergrad. He told me, "Ma, I'll join you." So when my son joined, then the Chole knew, okay, there's something serious. That's why the son is joining. So then after that, they took notice of it. They told, okay, we'll invest in this brand. And after that, we formed the entire new products altogether with the brand Sadev. The packaging is all hand painted. All that is taken care by my son. The marketing, sales, everything is taken care by him, Laskin. And I take care of the new product development. I sit with our technical team and the Ayurvedic doctors, and we see what is the new product we need to bring it out. Because me being a lady, I know exactly what another lady wants. So for me, like, it is more of a gut feeling what when we create the products. So that's the way Sadev journey started. And as it was mentioned, we have the Ayurvedic expertise with us because my father-in-law's forefathers, they were all Ayurvedic Vaidyas in Kerala. I mean, doctors are called as Vaidyas those days, and they had that Ayurvedic lineage in them, and there are so many formulations which is there with the family. So most of the products what we make, right from Medimix to Sadev, we have those Ayurvedic formulations in that. So that's the story.
Great story. And I think they have to take you seriously more, I think, your family now.
Now they started. Yes.
Thank you for that. And Mahima, can you tell us about your decision to, I remember you speaking to me about you having a short stint in the US and something happened with your business there. I think it's a good story that people should know how things can happen suddenly, and maybe it'll be good for you to just,
So, that was another lifetime actually. I was in the US for a decade. And actually, my background, I studied architecture in my undergrad, and 5 years of architecture school, whether they do anything else or not, they drill creativity in a systematic way inside your brain. Once an architect, you don't let that out of you. And so when I got married and I moved there, it was, you're waiting for your visas, you're waiting for something or the other to happen. So I just kind of started a small boutique from my home, and the boutique was more meant to be interiors things to decorate your home. And my cousin said, keep a small rack of clothes to call the people in. People will come in for clothes, they may not come in to see this as much. But that became so popular that it grew and it pushed everything else out.
And then you had celebrities walking in there.
Well, yeah. So then what happened was that was from the basement of my home. And once I got my paperwork and green card and everything, I could actually open a proper store. And I had, I'd done my master's in stage film design. So you also learn costume design. So with that knowledge and that sensibility, you're able to design for the limelight. Colors change in the spotlight. So I would actually, my specialty became to design for celebrities, not just film stars, but also politicians, because I was in Washington, D.C., so that place is rife with the senators and their wives and everyone. So it's very proudly said that it's a one-time wear. You wear it again, everybody has recognized you. You're not going to be able to repeat it again. And it was an amazing journey because it allowed me not just to get creative to whatever extent I wanted. People were very experimental, but you also get to meet a lot of people and you get to share stories. And you would have experienced when you're trying to design the perfect outfit, get the perfect outfit, you share a piece of yourself with the person. And to me, I love connecting with people on a one-to-one basis. I love hearing their stories, and I love I love listening to them. So it was a beautiful time, and we did a whole bunch of fashion shows. We had awards, we had events, and it was quite a wonderful journey. It's not as easy as it sounds to start a business there. Starting it is actually not as challenging because you have local resources like a small business administration. If you go there, seek help, they put you on to bank managers, they put you on to everyone, they run you through your business plan, they kind of help you survey the market and everything, they help you do that. The challenge is getting people through the door. That's the bigger challenge. And when you're a small business, you're from India, and you're brown in color, you don't talk with an accent. So people come in and the first thing they want to know is what is the discount available, and how much can we not pay you. So yeah, holding your own and having a dignified presence was the real challenge, and that just takes hard work and being transparent and honest with your people. So that was a very interesting journey. And
I believe you also had to learn accounting and,
so yeah, that was the other hat I wore, because that was the family business, a tax and accounting firm. And right around the time when the boutique kind of settled, it was doing fairly decently. We decided to open our own tax and accounting firm. And as with all new businesses, you know how it is, right? You're doing everything yourself. So I had to train myself into doing math and tax and accounting. I had promised myself I would never do anything to do with math in my life, but here I was doing tax and accounting. But I realized that I don't actually have to do the math. The software does that for me. I have to know how to creatively use it within the parameters of the law. The numbers that are given to me, what do I do with it? So I found that there was creativity in there. And so literally there was the office and there was the boutique and there was a back door connecting it. So I would have one foot here and one foot there. And, I don't know how I did it, but I enjoyed the tax and accounting part quite a bit.
End of the day, I think what you enjoy is what you do. And sometimes you also sort of want to do something more beyond that.
I think it's more of finding a way to enjoy what you need to do. So you know that this is what you need to do. So how can I find my joy within that? And take it from there, because you don't always get to land on that perfect, ideal work that you always dream of.
Passion, and then there's a purpose.
And there's purpose, and then you find your joy in that.
Yeah. Great learning from there. While I thought that, we all needed to know different businesses and different walks of life that you all have dealt, there's some things that we as women come with, and some of the questions that are asked by young entrepreneurs are like, there's so many things, there are so many, loans that people are getting. There are a lot of things, everybody's talking about startups, there's a lot of buzz around that. I mean, but the Startup India only has about 13% of entrepreneurs as women. So which is a very, very big gap with what we are trying to understand and we do. So what in your opinion is that we could change this? I'll pass this question around rather than having to answer. But if you have the answer for that, I would love you all to just share your views on what can be done as women here. And there are so many of us here.
If I can, so I personally feel that, why is it so? It is because of a mindset. It's not just, it's not enough to just place all the responsibility in the male hand and say, hey, you're not giving the opportunity. I think as women, we also need to shift our mindset that, you can do this. And this starts completely at home when the kids are small. That's where the fine tuning happens. That's where we are hard coding it into their DNA, that even the conversations you have with kids, you're many families are talking to their boys about business, but to the girls are talking about dolls. And no matter how forward thinking they are, they end up doing that subconsciously. So it's like this at at the childhood level itself, we need to start retraining and reprogramming how we raise our kids, and let the woman feel empowered that she can do it. Yes, of course, it's, men are out there to not let it happen. They're out there. We know it. I mean, I can call it and say it that they would love to not see you rise. There are a lot of people like that out there. But if you begin to believe their narrative that maybe I'm actually not capable, and that's nagging at you in the brain, then you're adding it to your own weight. And that weight can only be lifted if you have a supportive environment that has not nurtured that wrong thought process. So for future generations, I feel that's the answer. That we have to retrain how we bring up our kids. In the current scenario, I mean, I let one of the other esteemed that people what to do about it.
Mahima, I totally agree with you. I think if we uproot it, it's right going down generations. Even I take myself, similar story. Yeah, society is changing, and what we need to do to bring that statistics of 13% to a 30 and to a 60 and whatever in the coming years would be a lot of awareness, like programs like whatever thought process mindset Mahima is talking about. We must bring that out from the very beginning, from education, from at home and every environment that one is growing up. And the next generation is already, I feel, a lot better. But at the same time, I mean, it's a fact that, okay, we are getting into a very different conversation here, but this whole gender discrimination and all of that, but it is a fact that women do have to juggle roles, and it is, one can't forget that or surpass that. So, I was going to talk about it later, that it would be better to also on a social level create an environment where there are more creches, where very, very good, trustworthy yet pocket friendly spaces where mothers could leave their children taken care of, and or the men have to change their mindset too, that they could take care of the children equally, or it's a lot. It's a huge, maybe another panel discussion on this.
Absolutely. I know it's a huge topic and a burning topic. Do you want to add anything, Raj?
I totally agree with what both of the wonderful entrepreneurs have talked about here. But just thought I'll throw a perspective on if I were an angel investor. Investors only look for making money. There is no gender bias. There is no gender discrimination. I think as far as women are concerned, women have to be more confident. No entrepreneur starts with knowing it all, whether it is a male or a female. And I do agree with you, Garima, that yes, women do juggle a lot of things, and that's something that is part of my history as well. But first and foremost, if a woman can believe, as the stories that I've heard from Jaya and from Mahima and you, Garima, believing that I can make a difference. I have the skill in me. I want to add value. I have a great idea. To first believe in that. And then you can build the tools. You can learn, you can outsource, you can do whatever it is. Every one of them mentioned that, either they didn't know this, they didn't have this idea, they didn't know financial savviness, they didn't have business tools, but you can build those tools. And then you become what you have to become. Being an entrepreneur is not a hobby, and it is not a part-time job. You have to wake up to that every day. So I guess from that perspective of being an angel investor, or any investor for that matter, they only look for, do you have a good idea? And do you have confidence that you can grow this business and scale it? Then you will have a line of investors.
Thank you for that.
What I feel is these are the best times for the women of the world and in India, because throughout the ages, if you see the kind of freedom that women have now is enormous. And if a lady makes up her mind, or if a girl makes up her mind, she can do anything what she wants. There's nothing that is stopping her. Okay, because as far as investing is concerned, there are so many angel investors like Raju who are there out there to put money in what we want to do. Because if you have a passion and longing to do something, definitely we can make things happen. When it comes to like something like a family business, like when you're going asked to go to the office, it's better to go and sit there. When you sit there, don't just sit there, ask questions. We have to open up our mind. We have to open up our mouth and and make them know that, okay, we are here. We are not sitting here dumb. We are here to listen. We are listening to you. We are also asking you questions. We have to make a presence felt anywhere and everywhere we go. If there is a will, there is a way. And surely there's so much of investment is also coming up for great ideas.
Thank you. I think taking the center stage in every place that you want to be heard, seen, I think that's where I think it's a good way. Thanks for those wonderful insights. I have 5 more minutes and I thought I will leave 10 minutes for people to ask questions. But within that 5 minutes, I just want to ask another question. One aspect that many early founders do not pay adequate attentions to is to legal compliance, and generally get sort of stuck in certain areas, and then they go back and redraw the whole thing. In your experiences, why is that, and why must there be a focus on legal compliances moving forward? Because I think we're talking about consumer business here or any other business. So do you want to take that up, Jaya? Or okay.
Sure. Why is it important? I think it's a no-brainer. If you're not compliant, you're going to get into trouble. You're definitely bound to get into some trouble down the line. But why are people doing it? As an entrepreneur, you're full of these ideas. You have so much of enthusiasm for the idea, that which you're going to do. And you tend to get caught up and swept away in the emotion of it, in the wave of that. And if you don't have any kind of educational background or inspiration in front of you, who you can get guidance from on these matters, it's very easy to not think about that in terms of compliance. You go with the flow, how I'm going to execute this, what are my logistics in terms of executing, can my idea, you're so hung up in the idea so that could be one of the reasons. Secondly, maybe your educational background has not involved anything to do with compliance. For someone maybe perhaps who's come from an art related background, who has not possibly studied anything to do with that in their life, they may have a fantastic business idea that has to do with the arts, but since they have not had that thought process before, it's not going to emerge out there. And but I have seen, whether it's a business or it's a non-profit, compliance is supreme. Especially as a non-profit, I feel it's even more, because they look at you as guilty even before you've done anything. You have to really keep an account of every rupee you spend. So it's so much easier to keep it straightforward, plan for it in advance, keep it clean, and you sleep easier at night. And like I told you in the beginning, if this is not your forte, just outsource it, get someone to do it for you.
Good point.
I think it's like a prerequisite for success. I started by registering my brand, my company. We've paid sales tax from the first product we ever sold. And I know so many people who are doing fantastic with their manufacturing. They approach us for reselling their products from our stores, but they're doing it from home. They do not have confidence. They do not have guidance. They don't have mentors. They are not even able to raise an invoice, leave alone pay tax to the government. So I think it's a whole system, the society, where even consumers come to the shop and sometimes they ask for a GST free product, and there are a lot of things like legalities from every angle. And
I think with the new GST and the laws around taxation, it's very, very complicated.
And I feel like this lack of confidence that people have when they start, they have a startup, and it's also because it's made very ugly, and it is very hard to come around legal things. I mean, so much so that I'm sitting here on this panel. I do take help from my husband for any of these, GST filings or those kind of things. I could take it up, but then I'm very design strong, and I'm very, passionate about my product. And if I'm going to spend my energy and not outsource that, it gets so for a startup or for a small enterprise, all that becomes very hard. So I wish that in the coming years, if those legalities can be simplified and made, accessible for young entrepreneurs or startups.
So this is the last question, and this is for both Raji and Jaya. How do you see consumer brands scaling up, raising funds, or consolidating? Jaya, want to?
Now with this advent of technology, there is so much of awareness about different kind of products, and the youngsters out there, they have fantastic ideas. Like some outlandish ideas they have, but some of them, they don't have the capital with them. Now that venture capitalists and private equity funds, they're all there. People are ready to put their money in that, and the companies are growing. So that's why we have so many unicorns like Swiggy, Paytm, Zomato, and all that. There is so many, so much of support for all that, and all these smaller, startups are flourishing because of this kind of funding that is coming up. So coming to Sadev, luckily we have good mentors, and initially Cholil has been funding us. Now that we see that there is a lot of attraction for the brand, the kind of consumers, once they come to the brand, they are always loving the brand, and they're coming back with more of their friends and families. So now at the moment, we are only in the online platform, and we are selling from our own website and Amazon and Nika, etc. But there is a lot of interest in our brand. So many other angel investors are asking whether they can invest in our brand. Definitely, we'll be looking into that, because from this year, we are planning to expand the brand. So definitely we'll be looking into that.
Thanks, Jaya. So do you think it's consolidating in terms of segregation? And there's so many that is coming up. So probably I want you to take that.
Before I answer that question, I did want to add something from the perspective of a partnership on the compliance bit. In my experience, I've seen that there is no provision there for partners to understand how there will be a value add from an investor perspective. So many a time there are fights between partnerships because there is no value add from the promoter, whereas the other entrepreneur is just slogging away, and it leads to a lot of partnership fights. So it is important that one gets educated on the compliance, and one gets a partnership involved in what is happening on a day-to-day basis. And most of the time I've seen the challenge for an entrepreneur is to manage an investor, especially if the business is very successful. If it's not successful, the investors will not trouble you so much. So I just wanted to add that part. On segregation and to consolidate. Well, with all of these technological advancements, anything is possible. In fact, I really was very much on the fence on this answer, because we don't know how it's going to go forward. We have all these small shops all around in India, especially. Will they all come together? All these potti kades, as we call them. Will they all? Yes, will these advancements with WhatsApp and everything else, will it reach out to them? Will they be able to consolidate and come together? But looking at the way GPay and everything has just taken over, everybody, including a flower vendor in front of a temple, is willing to get paid by GPay. So yeah, looks like there is a possibility. But will there be these potti-kades in and around? I still feel yes. It's if you cater to a customer's need, you will not go wrong in your business. So that's my take.
Everybody has a share. Jayashree, are we okay with the time? Yeah. So I think I'll request, we have some questions from the audience, and if somebody can pass the mic.
First thing is, your name of the company is a bit tricky, Kindness Foundation. First time I'm hearing. Anyway, it's good. Congratulations for that. First time, I'm hearing. And in this world, see, totally majority of the people, just for mere living, we are killing animals. That is non-vegetarians. Only few minuscule persons of people are resorting to vegetarianism. Yeah, that means we are slowly moving towards unkindness. In this unkind environment, how do you feel your kindness organization can exist? That is one aspect of it. And the second thing is mere talking about killing animals, vegetarianism, it won't help. Unless otherwise, there must be a transformation within. You have to be kind and compassionate. So what techniques you adopt or you suggest in order that a person shall become kind? And can I ask you, and it's also mentioned that you are Isha Foundation, you got experience, and also that is yes, India shall lead in the business environment. In the business environment, how do you feel the spirituality of India in general and your experience in Isha Foundation will help?
Like you rightfully noted, we are called the Kindness Foundation because we are very clear about what we think the world needs more of. And we do that by, it's not just enough, like you said, to talk about stories or to say this is right or that is wrong. You have to live it. You have to be the example. So let's take what you're talking about, kindness to animals itself. People are veg or non-veg. I feel, who am I to judge anyone else for their choices? Can I look at my own life? Can I see what I do? And is that truly representative of what I talk about? And if I have the capacity to live that kind of life, then and only then can I tell someone else about it and hopefully maybe inspire someone else. So, we talk about vegetarianism, but even within vegetarians and as Hindus, we consider the cow to be the mother, right? Gai Mata, we say. But if you take a closer look behind the dairy industry, what's going on in the dairy industry, it's nothing short of brutal cruelty that goes on with the cows itself. Because if you think about it, where is the milk coming from? A mammal only gives milk when it has given birth, right? Like every mammal, like human beings as well. And how is this cow repeatedly giving birth year after year, year after year? It's being artificially inseminated, and that process is brutal. So even as vegetarians, we can sit on a high horse and say, oh my God, non-vegetarians are killing animals and doing it. But it's really important, before we get judgmental on anyone else, we sit and think back about how kind is our own actions. Are we just sitting in our own pride and thinking we are right? Are we being righteous? Or are we truly trying to look within our own selves? That is the starting point of kindness. Before we preach to anyone else, you think about your own self, your own actions. And I have found that people see that when you take proactive actions to, lead a kinder life, people see how you are and they get inspired, they do it on their own. As far as the foundation goes, yes, we do have a lot of empathy education programs. We run it in schools and corporates amongst women. But what really works is when we put it into action ourselves. When we go out there and there's so many different programs that the foundation runs. We can pick any one of them which are action oriented. We talk about it on social media not as so and so has done it. We do not give any credit to the human beings who are doing it, but more to the action. And it's the action that inspires. If you start talking about, oh, so and so, so great, they have done this, that's pride to me. But when you talk about the action itself, leaving out the ego and the pride from it, that actually inspires people to take, do their own steps. I'll give you a very small example. We had run this, a very small social media post of 20 kind acts that you can have inside the classroom, right? Suggested list of 20 acts. And a week later, I got this message from some mother in some part of, some part of Tamil Nadu, I don't even remember, some obscure city, some obscure town, and said, we saw that post and my daughter needed to do a sharing in her class. And she shared that in her class. This was a third grader at that point in time. And the teachers loved it so much, they made it this, they put it up in their classroom, and they made it the classroom rules. And the principal loved it so much, the whole entire school has adopted those 20 principles as their kindness principles. And I'm telling you, this is what inspiration means, and this is what is the power of a kind act. You cannot measure it. You don't know how tangible it is going to be. You just cannot measure it. But it is a drop that causes a tsunami, a tidal wave. It just goes and it goes. This is one story. I have so many that I can share with you. Sorry, I don't want to hog the time.
To answer your question on India and spirituality, I am a great believer that there are masters out there who are looking over us as individuals, as over the society, as a community, as a country. So I'm a great believer, and that's something that is very integral to India, and it's not something that it's just my opinion. I think historically speaking, if you see, spirituality is very much an integral part of India as a culture and as a nation. As an entrepreneur, I think it's very important for an individual to have a multi-dimensional growth, not just be growing in one aspect. It just makes that person a much more capable individual. Women have that kind of growth. They make better managers and empathetic leaders because of that kind of a dimensional growth, because they wear different hats. This is my belief. I was just sharing with a friend today that the juxtaposition that defines me is the fact that I have these different elements that I have in my life. I'm a mom, I'm a daughter-in-law, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm an entrepreneur, I serve people, I give time to foundations like Isha. The tensions that come from that actually doesn't pull me back. It helps to grow me. And that's the way I look at it. So that is the juxtaposition that defines me. As far as Isha Foundation and my experience is concerned, I feel Sadhguru is a mystique who is just trying to demystify how we function as humans. And some of the tools that has come from the foundation has just been nothing but beneficial. So hence, when somebody reaches out to me to give, ask me for my time to do something where I can add value, I'm more than happy to give that.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions, or? Because I have a lot, but I thought maybe audience would like to ask some questions. Okay, sure.
This question is for Mahima, because since you talked about service and creativity, so in India, in the IB program, which is the International Doctorate Program, there is a project that goes on called CAS, Creativity, Activity and Service. So it's so beautifully combined. What I'm trying to understand is from part of your foundation, because I followed your Kindness Foundation very closely, and my kid has participated a few years ago when you were doing your 1 week Be Kind projects, right? Why can we not take this inculcating that in the kids from a young age? This program is done only in the high school, in the 11th and 12th, which is by the time kids are already molded. So how can your Kindness Foundation help to see if schools can imbibe that in a very younger age? So
that's a very keen observation that, since it's imbibed in part of the curriculum, it's left up to the older kids. What about the younger ones? And I would say, if you think about it, empathy and kindness, all of these are virtues and qualities that people think are fancy add-ons. They're not considered to be essential to life. It's important to get good grades. It's important to get marks. You have to become, you have to study. Your life plan is chalked out for you, subconsciously. And all of these things are okay. It'll be nice if you're kind. And, okay, as parents, what can we do? And either you're a kind person or you're not. You're just not bent that way. Those are the kind of biases that we have in mind. But actually, empathy can be taught. And it is not a fancy add-on. It is a necessary must-have. As I'm sure everyone will agree, empathy is something that when you experience it, you know the value of it. And only then you can start giving it out. So empathy can be trained. We actually run a Kind Campus program. There's a program that I have devised and structured and it starts from very early ages all the way up. It's a thanks to the international school programs, IB and IGCSE. Because of them, it's become part of education. People have started opening up to the fact that, yeah, okay, fine, can bring it into the educative mainstream. I still find our CBSE and central schools, the principals want to bring it in. They want to do stuff with it, but they're like, where is the time? There's no time. Syllabus, we have to cover syllabus. There's no time for anything. So those are the little bit of struggles, but that thing is changing, because I do find a lot of schools are opening up even at the earlier ages. So it's just a matter of spreading the awareness, and parents should say that we want this for our school. We want our kids to engage in empathy education. It's something solid and tangible, and parents recognize it, even the schools will give value to it.
Thank you. I think we are good with questions, and at the right time, I'd request Vidya Singh to propose a vote of thanks for this program. And thank you all speakers while we are here listening to your stories. I think it's inspired a lot of them today, and I'm sure there are many more that are going to be born as entrepreneurs. Over to you, Vidya.
Thank you. Thank you. It is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks today. I would like to begin by thanking the startup team headed by Raji Raju and Mala Chandra, and all the others in the team: Bela Kothari, Deepa Shah, Vanita Venugopal, Shilpa Krishna, Jyoti Thomas. A special thanks to our platinum sponsor, Satyabama University, our gold sponsor, Sadev Cholayal Trust, other sponsors, Palam Silks, Samriddhi Investments and Financial Services, KLP Projects Private Limited. Priya Gautam, who is in the National Startup team, for moderating today. Group Captain Mr. Vijay Kumar, VSM Executive Director of Madras Management Association. He was very helpful with organizing this event at MMA. We would like to thank MMA for partnering with Flow Chennai and making this event bigger and more successful. The tech team of MMA for seamlessly organizing the AV, gift sponsors Juicy Chemistry and Palam Silk, Deepa Shah for connecting and coordinating with Juicy Chemistry. A special thanks to Jyoti Thomas for connecting and coordinating with MMA and Group Captain Mr. Vijay Kumar. Past presidents, past chairs, GB members of Pan India chapters who joined online. Once again, I would like to thank the startup team for all their effort. I would request all of you to please do stay on for the next session, which starts sharp at 4:30. I would now like to request, just take a few minutes of your time. I'd like to request our President Jayshree Ravi to come up on stage and present mementos with the help of Mr. Vijay Kumar. We would like to request you to come on stage as well. Mr. Vijay Kumar.
Stay back or I just took picture. Closer, so that's
Can I start a chart, please?
Yes.
Deepa, Bela, Anita,
Comes out live on national television. Please come. That finished. I'm watching it at 4:30 or something. They are speaking out in lovely. Can you check the bill?